wouldn't actually say.
Okay. You need 3.
It's coming.
It's on once. It doesn't have to be.
It's all the way up there.
Hello, Army.
Well,
This is where I'm going to say so
Look over.
I didn't change it. I didn't change it.
No, I just didn't print one.
Good job.
You want one? Yeah.
No, I just want to get my dates right.
No.
Murray right out there.
You know, you have a hard start time up here, so. I'm tired today, I might just get moving and start going. I think so.
So.
It was just nuts, I got home around 6:30 for public works.
Oh.
How that goes. Yeah, I usually try to schedule a shorter day for when I know it's here late, but.
A little light on that.
Yeah, I mean, you can do another work.
Okay.
That's sort of how a little bit, right? Certifications are a bit.
Vanessa, how do you spell your last name?
NED.
7:28,
Thank you. Okay.
can't see that clock because of the glare.
No.
Make sure you spell it properly throughout the
I
whole.
Yeah, he's in the battery.
Would you like some?
I'll take all of that.
I tried this now. Would you like some?
Maybe after the meeting, it'd be my
Would you like
reward.
Oh my
Don't give him a
God.
sugar high, you gotta be like,
Bucky?
it's out of control now.
Paula, would you like some?
Smarties. That's my favorite.
No, good. Would you like something?
Did you say thank you?
Smarties?
Trying to quit.
Compliments of
I
our
told you
borough,
not to take.
of our borough manager.
Smarties.
I'm gonna take a couple Smarties for the road.
Well, those are your favorite.
Yeah, no, we're good over here.
Cycle it, now we own candies.
Why are they sitting in front of me?
Did he pick up the Smarties?
That's gonna help, yeah.
I wasn't gonna bring the whole thing up, the chief said I should bring it up. Oh, now you want Smarties?
I said I do like.
Brian?
No, thanks. Got it, you can't figure it. All right, right, Ms. Barabas, you have your candy, you okay now? Everybody's
I
munching.
think we started a tradition.
I think so.
Smarties at the meeting.
Smarties. Okay, we'll come to order. Start with pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. And welcome. I will begin with need a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
I motion to approve the minutes of our meeting February 5th, 2019.
I'll second, but can we just correct the solicitor's name in a couple spots?
Of course.
You mean,
Thank you very much.
hey, you is not appropriate. All right. Okay, as amended, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Any abstentions? Hearing none. Thank you. Next item, let's go to progress reports. Beginning with Mr. Solicitor.
I don't have anything to report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. We will spell your name right. Madam Borough Manager.
I'm sorry I sent my report a little late today. I just want to let everybody know that we're almost done with our annual audit and our single line audit, which is really, really early this year. We are also advised of some unclaimed property that's due to the borough, so I submitted some claim forms for that. been really busy. Patty's doing great. We scheduled a March meeting with Newtown Borough to start looking at their budget, to start comparing and seeing how they do it, and hopefully do the same. That's about it.
Very nice, thank you, Madam Borough Manager. Mayor?
Thank you. Two items. Tomorrow, if you don't know, from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Charcoal BYOB, Fox News will be there doing a breakfast takeover kind of special, I guess, to your town. So if you're looking for some place to grab breakfast and support Charcoal BYOB from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., I guess they'll have live segments throughout the morning. And then second thing is we started a concept for the Yardley Borough on Air show that we needed a new theme song. So we've opened it up to anyone who knows anyone who is a musician that wants to create a song. We're going to have a different one every week. So even if it's just a little kid creating a song, or someone maybe who has a son that likes to play guitar, create a song, a theme song, and we'll play it every week. And then if we like it, we'll play other music for them and promote local bands and music acts and things like that. So we'll change it up every show. So free way to get airtime. If anyone knows anyone who has a band, they just have to make a 1-minute intro and can contact me for details of what needs to be.
Nice, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Chief Kelly?
Yes, sir. Last Monday, Officer Gary Zapano was sworn in by Mayor Harding at police headquarters, so we're still in the process of getting him through to get his moped certification so we can get him back out on the road. And the last storm, no notable accidents at all, either vehicle or pedestrian to report.
Beautiful. Keep that up for tomorrow, huh?
Try.
Thank you, sir.
I'm only as good as the last one.
Madam Borough Engineer?
Yes, good evening. So we have a few updates for council this evening. Regarding the Main and Afton signal improvements, we are looking to make our submission to PennDOT by the end of this week. Moving on to the 2018 Liquid Fuels Road Program, we are waiting on completing the CS 4171 form so we can submit that to PennDOT as well. Regarding the inlet cleaning and jetting, we have to inform TLC that a highway occupancy permit will be required for them to excavate and retrieve their jetter nozzle that they lost. And we will continue to reiterate that they have to use their insurance policy for the cost for that. Regarding the University Drive sinkhole, we were hoping that Bucks County Water and Sewer Authority would be able to assist us with making that repair, but due to a court ruling, they are no longer able to do that at this time. So we are waiting for their assessment of what the recommendations that they suggest, and then we may have to look at other contractors to actually do that work. Moving on to the 2015 FMA grant application. We're still under construction for 31 North Delaware, and we're hoping to be on schedule to complete that by the end of February, depending on what the storm is like tomorrow. Moving on to Yardley Walk. So there's going to have to be some additional communication with DEP regarding this. We received some information today, just right before this meeting, from Lennar, stating that DEP is saying that they're requiring them to do a huge study, for the recommendation of improvements for any dam work. We're not taking Lennar's word for it, so we're going to reach out to DEP ourselves tomorrow and speak to the Waterways and Wetlands Division in the Southeast Regional Office, speak to the representative there so we can get from DEP directly what is required to address the dam, and so hopefully we can move forward with the addressing and closing out the punch list for the project. Moving on to the police station roof. We did inspect the roof recently to see if there are any temporary fixes that we could do. Unfortunately, Tom Beach isn't here, he's on vacation, so I will find out from him when he gets back, and then we'll report back to council as to what those fixes, those recommendations are, and then move forward with the, additional scope of work for that. And that is all that I have for council this evening.
Thank you, ma'am.
Council President, can I ask a question?
Absolutely, sir.
Solicitor, is there on the roof, so there's something that requires us to go out to bid, right, a price level on the job? Is there an emergency application that applies that we don't have to go out to bid? I mean, if we can deem it, go ahead.
We actually, I'm sorry, we actually have a solution on the agenda.
Great.
That's
I just wanted to see if there was an emergency there.
yeah, we're.
Thank you, Mr. Ross.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other questions on that? Thank you, Madam Engineer. Okay, Council Vice President, David Lynn.
Yes, earlier this month, I attended a joint meeting hosted through Senator Sanacero's office regarding the Trenton Airport expansion. Brought together several stakeholders. I was there on the borough's behalf. Lower Makefield Township was represented, Senator Sanacero's office, Perry Warren's office, Congressman Fitzpatrick's office, the Bucks County Planning Commission, and Dan Marseglio, one of our county commissioners, attended. We were really just trying to take a step back and look at what are the common objectives regarding the airport and what is feasible. So the meeting didn't produce too much in terms of action items. We do have a follow-up coming. And again, if anyone has any questions, this is an ongoing issue, so I don't want to get too much into the details of it. Just making known that we are being represented in those conversations. And also just to reiterate, because I'm sure we'll get the question, we have not budgeted any specific funds in 2019 regarding any fights with the airport. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Vice President, I don't have a report this evening. I will move on to council committees. Start with
So general government met just before this meeting, and we are working on revisiting the fee schedules, which we do every year. But we did want, before we actually draft up any changes, to ask for input from council and from those in attendance on what you would like us to look at when we're updating it. So we're finding in many of the categories we're losing a substantial amount of money. And so obviously we're going to pull the fee schedules from all of the surrounding municipalities to see how we compare, but I just want to make sure we're incorporating everyone's ideas in terms of how you would like us to go about this. Any thoughts? Or we can just go ahead and do the work. I just don't want to miss anybody's feedback. No? Yes.
I believe the police, we submitted our requests as far as police fees.
Great, yeah, Paula said those were coming, so that's great. Nothing to report from community outreach.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Okay, next committee. Ryan, anything you would like to report?
Yes, the Reading Avenue Woods Committee continues to meet. In fact, we met last night. The solicitor recently drew up a draft of the proposed conservation easement for the Reading Ave Woods parcels, which I shared and met with the committee to discuss last night and met with the solicitor tonight about. There are some revisions which will, be marked up, and I will distribute the draft out again. At our March 5th meeting, I will formally present the draft to council, and subsequently I will submit to the planning commission for their March meeting to discuss, and hopefully we'll await their comments to move forward. But that's the next steps, really, sending this to the planning commission. That's it.
Thank you, Council President. Council President.
So on Friday, Public Safety, Mr. Barry and I, and coincidentally, Mr. Brea representing Public Works, we attended a meeting among some of the North Main Street residents. This is an ad hoc committee. Their focus is on traffic safety. If you recall, at the last council meeting, a couple representatives came to the council meeting. They came to the public safety meeting and then stayed for the council meeting. So we joined their meeting. They committee of council. But we had, I think, a great discussion around some of their concerns, and we did come up with some action items for the committee to undertake, as well as a couple things that we will bring up at our next public safety meeting. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Community and Economic Development has not met since the last council meeting, but I just did want to bring everyone's attention to the fact that we have now received a draft ordinance with some additional changes to the floodplain. And this, again, is on the recommendation of Wes Foraker and Susan Mazzatelli. And we're looking at easing some of the restrictions in the floodplain, areas where we have been frequently seeing variances or a need for variances to be granted. If we're not opposing those variances or challenging them, it makes sense, it's good government to change the ordinance to allow those projects to be a use by right. So that ordinance still does need to be reviewed in committee, it still needs to go through planning commission, but just wanted to let everyone know that that process has begun.
Good progress. Thank you, sir. Conclude?
Yes.
Ross.
Public Works, met earlier tonight, we reviewed the proposal for the roof that's gonna be on the agenda for later. And we also had a resident come in about a possible grant for electric car charging stations in the borough, so that's something we're gonna read into and look into and might be coming up in the future. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on to other reports. Bills list, need a motion?
I move to approve the bills list dated February 19th, 2019.
I'll second.
Seconded, motion's been put forth and seconded. Any questions on that bill list? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Thank you for that. Any other correspondences for this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on. This is the meeting open to the public. This is the portion of the meeting during which members of the audience may address council on matters that are not on this agenda. If you wish to comment on an item that is on the agenda, you will be provided with an opportunity to do so during council's discussion of that item. Members of the audience who wish to address council are asked to stand, give their full name and address. If requested, there will be a follow-up by council committee or council member. Any questions concerning from this audience?
I guess I'll go first. Alex Thorne, 100 North Main. I have a bunch of questions about with several people probably. One of the meetings, I missed the last one, I think, but before, there was mention of the zero-based budgeting concept. Wonder how that's going for 2019 at this point.
So, the manager, Paula Johnson, and our new financial assistant are working on the first draft of the budget now. I do believe that they plan to use zero-based, but also they're going to do separate budgets for each account, so it's a huge overhaul of how we currently do things. We usually don't receive the first read of the budget until August or September, but we'll probably, since we're switching over to a new format, have a copy available to the public and review it within committee earlier than that, but it has begun, and that's still the plan.
Okay, good. Thank you. PennDOT tractor trailer signs. So there was something Perry put in the Facebook page about them being received. Just wondering the location and timing of them being posted.
They are going to be going up shortly. We did PA1 calls, well, they're marked out. There's one going down by Acton Avenue. There's another one going on this side of the intersection as well. Anything in the intersection is going to wait until the green light go, so that you should be seeing them going up shortly.
All right. I don't know if it got out, but it seems like there's less traffic, less tractor trailer traffic maybe.
Knock on wood.
Maybe it's good luck. We'll just take it for now. The signs will help, of
Have
course.
a candy, have a party.
So, North Main Street sidewalk, any kind of update on what we're doing there, moving that project forward for additional grants?
You want to take this one?
It's my understanding that, right now, I'm not sure if there's anything as far as grant funding is concerned, but, the project is kind of like on hold.
Yeah, the grant didn't get approved for this year. We just got a letter this week about it. So we're gonna, talk about it in Public Works, and we're gonna resubmit the grant for next year.
Okay, what was the reason for it being denied? Do you have any idea?
I think we're just low on the list of how many they're able to give, how many applications they received.
Did we get rejected twice now?
Yes.
Yes, so to clarify, on our initial, when the grant initially was not given to the borough, we reapplied for the same, for this year. We were not successful again. And as we all know, without a grant behind this project, we don't have the funding to really do much with it. So we can apply again in the future, but for this year, we're not going to see any motion on it.
Okay, from a grant perspective, is there anything else that can be done to move it forward outside of the grant? I mean,
No, the only thing that we are gonna do is by the end of the year, we're gonna renew the HOP permit, so we are able to do it, so it doesn't lose all the work that we've made so far.
And typically those grants are very competitive, so.
Sure. Mentioned meeting with Public Works, or Public Safety, with the folks in North Main. Yeah, can you give a little bit more understanding of sort of some of the action items that were coming out of that?
Sure. So their biggest concern has to do with speeding in trucks, but mostly truck speeding on Main Street and North Main Street. And we did do a traffic study on North Main Street as well as South Main Street, so we shared some of that data with them. They've actually been doing some of their own research and their own kind of traffic study, which I think they will share with us in the future. But we did talk about, and we talked about this during the public safety meeting as well, but the potential for additional markings on the street. So putting, 25 miles per hour right on the street in the lane. But the concern would be, would the residents along North Main be concerned with something? Would they view it as unsightly? So that's an action item that they're actually taking away to talk to their neighbors to see if they're behind that. We are also going to try and dig into some of these things that I need to bring up at the public safety meeting, but we want to take a look at kind of like the statistics around, I don't even know if we collect them, but around how many trucks would get a speeding ticket versus like a regular vehicle. I don't know if that is something that we break out data-wise, but something that we wanted to look into. And I think there was some talk about, is there, with state troopers, they, up on 295 interchange, is there something that we can do to leverage state troopers out on the highway before they even come out into the borough? I guess they used to do some detail around 295 up there. So along with the markings, thinking a little bit more about the crosswalks, more markings on the street. We did share with them that we're going to kind of look into Delaware Avenue speed limit, so that's the only portion of the borough where the speed limit is higher than 25 miles per hour, it's 35 miles per hour. So separately, public safety will be looking into that, and so we were wondering if there's anything that we can leverage back and forth between Delaware Avenue and North Main Street. But I can give you the contact for the first, if you were interested in joining that
Yeah,
group.
just get familiar with some of the folks that are on there. That'd be
You
great.
are familiar with
I
that?
would like to.
Oh, okay, yes, I will definitely give you the contact.
Very good. Okay. Thanks for tolerating all the questions.
Thank you, sir. Questions, concerns, otherwise? Ma'am?
Michelle Sheriff, 31 North Main Street. Can I ask, what dam is it that Yardley Borough is looking for approval for repair? That's not the dam behind the Friends Meeting.
Friends Meeting?
No, there's one
There's
farther
one
back.
further back.
Yeah, all the way, the last building, there's a path that goes back, and it's if you're walking back there, it's to the left.
Questions, concerns, otherwise? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public portion. Let's move on to certificates of appropriateness, which we have none. We'll close that one back out. Let's go to old business. In and out. Old business. Let's start with Councilperson Thompson.
Sure, so this was just an email we received right before the packet went out from the organizers of the Rotary Car Show, asking to change the date from to May 4th with a rain date on May 5th. As it says in the packet, West Forker and Chief Kelly approved of this. So I move to approve the date change, May 4th for the actual date and May 5th for the rain date for the Rotary Car Show.
Second?
Motion has been put forth and second. Are there any questions on this request? Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, have abstentions? None? Unanimous. Thank you, Councilperson Thompson. Number 2.
Just for the background for the public, we voted to terminate our contract with our zoning officer with Keystone Municipal Services back in December of 2018. That was a unanimous vote, and we've been using an interim zoning officer, Mike Miller, since then. Following the termination of Keystone, we tasked Manager Johnson with finding new options for a zoning officer. So her process included calling numerous neighboring communities to find out what their staffing structure looked like for their zoning office. And then based on these conversations, she had an in-person meeting with that's not the full name of it, Barry Iset and Associates, which is a remote service like the one we've been using in the interim, and they can come on site only when needed. Manager Johnson provided reference checks from Newtown Borough, Harvey's Lake, and Hatboro. Newtown Borough felt that billing was handled very well and they were never overbilled, which I thought was good to note. As such, Manager Johnson recommended that we extend a contract offer to Barry Iset and Associates for Yardley Borough zoning officer position. So I move that council accepts the recommendation of Manager Johnson to execute the attached professional services agreement with, I think she actually took out the start date, so, between Yardley Borough and Barry Iset Associates for zoning services.
Second?
Motion has been put forth and seconded. Are there any questions on this issue? Questions from the audience?
I'll have a question.
Sir?
Will the new officer have office hours, even though they're off-site?
No, so that will be actually a reduction in what we need to budget for this. It'll only be as needed, so if a resident needs them, they'll contact the borough office and then they'll have a one-on-one phone conversation. Again, they would only come on-site if that was necessary.
And if they come on-site, do we have to cover any expenses to get them here?
No, it's not as outlined in the contract.
No travel. It would just be his hours that he's here.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's explicitly that we don't pay travel.
Okay. That's it for me.
I just have, not so much a question, a comment. I think we can even work this out later, but I think we should have a point person for who can engage the zoning officer. Obviously, I think Paula should be one of those people, but perhaps one person from council as well, so we just, don't start all asking maybe the same question and engaging the billing process over and over again. I think we should just maybe funnel it through one member of council.
Can I make just a slight revision? I think one person from council or the president. I think that's fair. So I would say the chair of the
Why don't we
community.
do that now? Yeah, let's just do it.
Chair of the community.
Not that it's germane to the motion, but.
Yeah,
All right, let's vote on the motion first.
Oh, sorry, question. So do we have a sense of using the remote services of the interim zoning officer? Do we have any issues? Do we have a sense of the amount of time spent? I mean, this,
From your work?
yeah.
Yeah, he only reviewed, I think there was one application on North Main Street.
Okay.
So, and Mike is very thorough, came back with a lot of questions. It took a little while, but that's because he had a family emergency as well, so that's kind of hard to really pinpoint. But these guys are pretty much, they say they get it done very quickly. They'll have eyes on here with Wes or myself as well, so I think it's gonna work out well. And it just seems like most municipalities are going this way. Very few have somebody that's actually sitting there, especially our smaller ones like us.
Can I follow up on that? Say somebody walked in, a resident walked in, is it easy to contact the officer for
He
some
has
sort of
his cell
communication?
phone published on everybody's websites that he works for. So if people need to get in touch with them,
Right, and then Ryan,
if we
But
wanna,
that gets to the question of
if
who
we
to
wanna
contact.
allow that.
well, let me just add one other layer, also talking with borough manager, the gentleman, the person we have is someone who's assigned to us, and they have a relief system or a contingency system. So I don't think it's going to be, an issue of not availability. I think it's gonna work out quite well. I mean, I particularly was focused on that, making sure we had the coverage, and that we have someone who understands our borough, so we don't have to keep paying billable hours for the same questions over and over again. So,
And they've handled that in other towns as well, especially in Newtown Borough, where they might have somebody that calls a little more often. And they're aware of that, and they make sure that they don't draw it out. They try to get the stuff done quickly.
That was the point that Newtown Borough was making about overbilling. They felt that they were very succinct, and they felt like the cost savings was huge over having an in-person officer, because they really just, they wrap it up quickly, and they're always in communication with the borough on what's being billed and what to expect.
all right, Ryan?
Yeah, I guess, in terms of, I don't know what motion on the table right now, but,
Motion to approve it as it's
so we'll do that first.
All right, let me ask one more question. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Irene.
Irene Sylvius, 135 Pennsylvania Avenue. My understanding is that in these cases, in the case of malfeasance, a gross negligence, or just, just plain not doing it, the person who is acting as the contracted zoning officer would absorb the liability for their actions. Is that explicitly spelled out in our contract?
Yes, it is. There's an indemnification provision in the contract,
So the town will not be liable.
correct.
That's fantastic. I also wanted to just briefly to commend the entire council. This was an issue that was really going on for a while, and this council took it by the horns. You were extremely professional. You worked together, and you knocked it out of the park with this. Not only do we have a better situation, we have a better situation than we even set out to get. And so you solved the problem and then some. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for maybe one audience member, maybe two who don't know Ms. Sylvia, she's on our zoning, so she gets the brunt of decisions, and she,
Or not.
or not, yeah, or not, so, thank you, ma'am. Questions, other concerns? Hearing none, we'll have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, it's passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Understood. Okay, disposition, it's an easy word to say, of records. Councilperson Thompson.
Sure, so this is something we do every year. On February 17th, 2015, Yardley Borough passed a resolution on its intent to schedule getting rid of old files. So this year we have a lot of invoices and permits that are listed in your borough packet if anyone has any questions about them. One question that Vice President Bria sent that I thought was good was he wanted to check that nothing that's being destroyed was related to North Main Street or that project that's ongoing, because it has been going on since before 2015, and Paula confirmed that nothing is related to North Main. I move to approve the disposal of the above mentioned records in accordance with Municipal Records Manual dated 12/16/08 and amended 12/16/09.
Second.
Okay, motion has been put forth and seconded. Thank you, Mr. Ross. Any questions on the disposition of records? Hearing none. Any questions from the audience? Hearing none. Okay, let's move to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none. Unanimous. Mr. Ross, you're up.
All right. Over the past year and a half, we have been experiencing many leaking issues in the police department being caused by a poor job done on the roof in 2011. Although there was a warranty, the contractor is no longer in business or able to be located. We started researching to have it repaired or replaced. The engineer advertised for bids, but they came in much higher than they believe is a competitive bid or within our budget, ranging from $134,000 to $177,000. Therefore, we rejected all bids a month and a half ago, to possibly rebid. The borough manager contacted a local roofing company. It's the same one that replaced our shingled roof in 2013. He would not want to fix the leaks since they're too many to fix and couldn't guarantee that. He suggested installing a membrane that should last us up to 10 years, costing approximately $12,000. So council's options are either to do this repair or to rebid in hopes that we get a lower bid, but if we rebid it, the process will take months. So I'm gonna recommend that we do the repair for the $12,200, since that's lower than the threshold, and we can just do it as soon as weather permitting. So I'm gonna make a motion to, repair the roof, and install a membrane over the police roof for a cost of $12,200.
Second.
Motion has been put forth and seconded. Are there any questions on this issue from council?
What is the threshold again?
20,000?
Yeah, it's 20,150.
So this is not going to reach.
For formal advertising for bids, since this is over 11, you do need to get some other telephone quotes. I don't know how many you've received in relation to this. You need at least 3 total.
Okay.
So that, I guess, is another step you need to take if that hasn't been completed at this point.
3 including the one we have, or 3 in addition?
3 including.
So I'll just amend my motion that we will call a couple more to get estimates, and we will go with the lowest one. That is no more than $12,200.
Okay, that motion's up. Second?
Can we do that? Is that?
Well, that's the next piece. We'll have a discussion about that. Can we do this contingent on this person remaining the lowest bidder?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can do it that way. I think you need to review the other proposals before you select another proposal, I guess.
Is it gonna hurt us to wait 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
I'm
basically.
asking the wrong end of the table.
We had a ceiling collapse this Monday, causing
Yeah.
extensive damage to both borough and private property.
All right, let's tailor this under emergency health safety. We can do that. We can override a lot of these.
Especially with all the snow and ice that the roof's gonna
So
receive
let's,
in the next couple of
would you resubmit a motion under that caveat?
Can the chief state for the record that this is affecting the?
This Monday,
operations of the
we
police
came
department?
into a ceiling collapse in one of our offices that destroyed borough property and private property of one of the officers.
Yeah. So I think given that, it appears to be that, an issue of health and safety and welfare for the citizens. So, I think if council's offer has to do what needs to be done.
All right, so I'll revise my motion that under guidelines of health and safety, that we approve the cost of $12,200 to repair the police roof.
Motion made and seconded? Yes? Okay. Any questions?
Just to clarify, so now we don't need 3?
No, we'll just, as soon as weather's permitting, they will do the roof.
It's a wise move. Yeah.
Irene Savage, 135 Pennsylvania Avenue. I have a question about how this happens. This happened in 2003 with our sewer issue, when we redid the sewers in the flats. And same thing, the company was bonded, the work was guaranteed, everything was absolutely guaranteed, and, a bonding company, that's what they do. They went out of business, and they said, oh, taxpayers have to pay for it all over again, when it turned out that, we had pipes coming together at junctures where there was raw sewage running out of one edge. So that, obviously, that was also an emergency, and taxpayers just had to redo it. And when everyone said, what's going on with the bonding company, they were bonded. And they said, well, they went out of business, so let's just do it. So how is this happening? What is the role of the bonding company, and what is that time period?
On the previous repair.
Correct, yeah.
Well, it depends on the nature of the bond, whether it's a, performance bond or payment bond. So typically, a performance bond is in place to make sure that the project gets completed. And if there's an issue with that, then the bonding company would step in and complete the job per the, contracting specifications. I don't know what happened in the situation you're discussing, but that's the nature of a performance bond. A warranty is kind of different. You know, once the project is done, in this case, there was a warranty on the roof, but the warranty provider was the company that did the work, and once it goes out of business, there's nothing there to back up the warranty. So that's the situation we find ourselves in
Yeah.
presently.
Is there a tool, is there a device that we can use, a legal device that we can use in which we can remind ourselves and all of the people who make decisions for the borough to make sure that there's something besides the guy in the truck to back up that warranty? Because, you know, he can move to
Yeah.
Connecticut.
Yeah, that's something we should all be vigilant about, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I'll be here every time asking what kind of warranty we have. And I'd like to know, in this case, what kind of warranty do we have?
There's no, he said it, the roofer is a good qualified roofer, he said it should last up to 10 years, but since it's a repair and not a new roof, he can't guarantee it for any, like, there's no warranty on it.
Anybody else a little freaked out by that? I don't.
I mean, we're not replacing the entire roof. If we were to replace the entire roof, we would get a guarantee and a warranty, but it would cost 10 times as much and would take months. So,
Irene, he does have 1 year on his workmanship. That's the 1 year, that's a
Yeah.
standard provision. 10 years on the membrane because it's a manufactured item. But in between that is this daylight that we're
Yes.
concerned about. I've got water coming in on the chief, I don't know what.
Quick question, does,
Thank you.
I forget, does your motion reject the bids? Do we have to do that?
no, we don't have to do it.
We
It's
don't
just,
have to.
since it's an emergency, it would just.
We have to reject any bids?
That
Well, we
occurred at
rejected bids.
We already
a couple of meetings
rejected
ago.
This is from a while back.
Yeah, this was maybe 4 council meetings ago or so, when we went over that, maybe 5.
Yeah, I do remember
We
that.
reviewed the bids and we rejected all of them.
And chief, just for the record, would you transmit the report of the health and safety issue? The borough manager should put it with the contract.
Yes, I've already sent photographs.
Okay, beautiful. Okay. That's it, any other questions? Sir?
Yeah, Barry Sher, 31 North Main Street. This is really in response to Irene's question. I deal with this situation all the time, and the answer is you get a manufacturer's warranty. And we use major manufacturers, GAF, companies like that, and they will come out and inspect, or this is for new roofs, not for repairs.
This is a GAF product, but that's a good sound.
Okay, no, I'm just saying, but in the future, they will come out, inspect the installation, make sure it's installed right. And I got a flat roof in Willingboro, 5-story building. Exact same thing happened. The contractor went out of business. GF got us a new contractor. They came out, took care of all the repairs and everything, no cost to us. So I'm just saying in the future, manufacturer's warranty. Don't rely on the contractor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's a good motion. Questions, concerns?
I just compliment Paul on finding somebody for 13 grand to do this work we've been talking about for too many times and hearing about how bad a situation it is. So thank you, Paul.
Just, do we expect additional work in the future?
Yeah, we're gonna have to replace the roof. Yeah, but this should buy us at least, he said it should last up to 10 years. I would say in the next year or two, we should budget it and plan to do it before this turns into this situation.
Like the 100,000
Yeah,
plus dollars?
yeah, we should start putting away in the budget for the next 2 or 3 years so we can have it.
And I would just add that in conjunction with that, we are exploring possibly finishing out that area so we have more storage. We're running out of space here. We have a large loading dock downstairs. That's basically unused, it's a smoker's hut basically. And then there's this section right back here that you could actually stack. So we're looking at it. There's economies of scale in all of this where we wanted the time, but we don't have we have the waterfall right now, so we had to get past that. So that's it. We're looking at options. Sir?
David Applebaum, 39 Breeze Drive. Just a quick question, not to show my ignorance, but if you have a situation like this where there was damage to that roof and public and private, property was damaged and the building was damaged, is there insurance that covers this? And if so, why isn't that insurance being used to help pay for it? I just don't know, I'm just curious.
That's a good point.
I can call and ask them.
I'm just, because I'm in a business networking group where I work with a public adjuster. His job is to get as much money as possible for the homeowner to negotiate with the insurance company. But at this point, I didn't even hear that you are even talking about a claim against, this,
No, we missed that step, but thank you.
I mean, I imagine we could make a claim for the damages caused by the leak itself. I don't know that the roof itself was insured, but,
Sure, but, I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
Worth the question. Thank
but
you.
yeah,
So, thank you.
worth looking into.
That's the beauty of this type of government. Questions, concerns? All right, so we have the motion up as amended. Everyone's clear on the motion? Let's go to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstained? Hearing none? Unanimous. Thank you. That is it. Okay. New business, we have no activity. Need a final motion.
A motion to adjourn.
Motion forward. Second, anyone? Second. We are adjourned. Thank you.
I needed, again, what happened 5 years ago.